Good morning. My name is Chase Nishi, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd like to now call to order the July 3rd, 2024 Kakaako Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. And the time is now 10:41.
Thank you, Chair. In accordance with section, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
also would like to introduce and welcome our new Kakaako board member, Michael Chena, who is our business representative on the board. Michael?
Hi, morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning, welcome, and thank you very much for serving.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, now my turn. Thanks, Chair. In accordance with section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Kakaako board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included in the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor, boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCDA communications staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clearer audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony and you are attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. If you're attending in person, you'll be called to the front of the room in the order that you signed up. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. Before you begin your testimony, we ask that you identify yourself and spell your name for the record. When 1 minute is remaining, 1 minute remains will be called up, and when 30 seconds is remaining, 30 seconds remain will be called up. When time has elapsed, time will be called out, after which you will have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony, and then your audio will be turned off. If you're attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testifier. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor the staff is required to provide an answer. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting at another notice date. Thank you, Chair.
HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you by saying present or here. Let the record reflect the following members are present. Vice Chair Higa.
Present.
Secretary Apo.
Present.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Present.
Member Anderson.
Present.
Member Strikes.
Present.
Member Evans.
Present.
Member Sakota.
Present.
And Member Chena.
Present.
Chair, happy to report that we have all 9 members here. We have quorum.
All right, for today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. First thing on the agenda is the regular meeting minutes of June 5th, 2024. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? If there are no comments or questions, the minutes are approved as presented. Item number 2, decision making. Consider authorizing the executive director to enter into a 3-year right of entry agreement with Kanoa Winds, Inc., a Delaware corporation, for a portion of Lot C, located in the Makai area of the Kakaako Community Development District, no postal address, and further described by tax map key number 1-2-1-015 and 052 for the purpose of allowing Kanoa Winds, Inc. to store and operate 1 wind turbine for research and demonstration purposes, subject to other right of entry terms and conditions including but not limited to rent, maintenance, insurance, indemnity, removal, and responsibility for obtaining necessary governmental approvals and reviews. Mr. Ryan Tam, Director of Planning and Development, will now present the staff report. And can I ask, Robert Cundiff and Jason Oopai of Kanoa Winds to also come up to the presenters table?
Ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, good morning.
Thank you. So, Ryan?
Yeah, good morning, again, Chair Sheedy and, members. And again, you have to accept, yeah, okay, yeah. Again, please, staff report is, in your, packets. I think, in the interest of time, I'm actually just gonna defer. Sure. And let, Mr. Cundiff and Mr. Oopai, introduce their project.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chair Ishii, Vice Chair Higa, Executive Director Nakamoto, and distinguished authority board members. On behalf of Kanoa Winds, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to appear before you this morning and share information about our company and technology and ask for your support and approval for a right of entry onto HCDA property for a collaborative purpose of setting up a small wind turbine for demonstration and research. My name is Robert Cundiff, and I have with me Jason Oopai. We are advisory board members to Kanoa Winds. We also have our COO, Chris Craney, in the background here. He flew in from Japan to be able to show our commitment to this collaborative effort and to be available for any questions. We're extremely excited to begin this renewable energy journey and introduce this technology into the United States and specifically in Hawaii in a collaborative effort with HCDA. This revolutionary technology is a vertical, coaxial, contra-rotating twin blade small wind turbine. That's a mouthful, so we use the acronym VCCT. The original 2006 patented Generation 1 VCCT unit has been operating successfully in Japan for over 15 years in varying size units from 0.3 kilowatts to 10 kilowatts. And for varying purposes. The 0.5 kilowatt unit that we have on island and hope to set up in Kakaako is the world's first and only 2021 patented Generation 2 VCCT unit in existence as an improved design engineered with contra-rotating blades anticipated to be up to 40% more efficient than the first generation. Given this, as we engage with HCDA in this project, we understand that Japan and other potential world partners anxiously await getting this unit set up and tested. So we thank you for this opportunity, and we couldn't think of a better location than the adjacent parking lot to the Entrepreneurial Sandbox in Kakaako. We have provided some information that is included in your packet, and if it's okay with the board, we would like to take you through the material and answer any questions that you may have. I would also like to recognize that our CEO and founder, Kaname Takeya, is also online and available if needed. So at this time, my colleague Jason Oopai will cover the material, if that's okay with the board.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Oopai.
Thank you. Allow me to share my screen. Is the presentation visible?
Not yet. Sometimes there's a little delay with the Wi-Fi. Please try again.
Sorry. Oh, is he allowed to share?
Apologize for the technical difficulty. Our turbine will operate much more efficiently.
Yeah. Apologize, we're unable to connect to the share network.
Ryan, can we?
Yeah, we sent it to Ryan's, yeah.
Right, one second.
Share it still doesn't go. Like, do you wanna just speak just to the meeting? Robert, you wanna just speak just to the presentation, just in the interest of time,
Yeah, certainly.
and then if it gets up and running, then you can go.
Just give us a second.
Okay. Hey, Jason. Bring it up on your computer and just start talking about the material.
We do have a,
Yeah, you should have some of the material in your packet. The general presentation is pretty similar to the one we provided. We made a little adjustments to it after the fact. And we've also included some additional information specific to the site.
Yeah.
That is not in the packet that we'd like to present, so.
Sure.
Yeah,
Please
go ahead.
proceed.
Okay. As we mentioned, as Rob mentioned, Canoa Winds represents a new type of wind turbine. It is a vertical coaxial turbine we call the VCCT. Our intent introducing the wind turbine to Hawaii is to both test its ability to be safe and conduct power within an urban setting. And the technology has been operational in Japan for over 15 years and has been tested both in extreme weather conditions and Arctic conditions. We believe that the vertical coaxial wind turbine represents a sustainable wind capture within close proximity to both citizens, transportation, and densely populated areas, opening up the opportunity for more wind power in more locations in a safe manner. So the Canoa Winds is dedicated to launching the unit in Hawaii. We see this vertical turbine being a solution to assist in the renewable energy achievements for Hawaii's goals. And we look forward to both testing the unit and continuing to understand how its impact will be and its scalability within the urban environment. And we think Kakaako is a great location to both showcase its abilities and showcase its safety within proximity of transportation and other buildings. We believe that this vertical, the VCCT, is ideal for Hawaii, both in creating high quality function for energy supply and energy dependence for Hawaii's petroleum dependency here for our power. Excuse me. So I'm kind of go through this presentation pretty quickly, so apologize for not having it up. But so we see here on the screen, Hawaii. We selected Hawaii for a couple reasons. One is the wind capture is very strong here, and two, the dependency on fossil fuels makes Hawaii ideal to introduce new technology and allow us to capture power and more resources. The VCCT represents renewable power. The entire unit itself is fully recyclable. It represents clean emissions and eco-friendly resource for power. And we believe right through tax credits, this type of technology could be adopted more effectively. The advanced design operates at less than 40 decibels, so it's very quiet. And they have solved the engineering problem, creating zero vibration within the unit. making it extremely safe and allows it to withstand high velocity winds such as typhoons. So the unit is made up of new patent designs that allow it to capture multiple forms of wind, creating high efficiency power in a very small footprint. In contrary to other wind technology, the VCCT unit will operate far beyond cutout speeds of traditional prop propellers. Traditional wind turbines will cut out around 40 miles an hour. The VCCT has been tested and operated far beyond 130 miles an hour, making it operational in high winds. So this is an example. This is the 0.5 unit pictured here that we intend to set up in Kakaako Park. The power generation is in a band there identified in the graph, and we expect this unit to put out anywhere between 10 to 25 kilowatts a day. Particularly to the site that we've selected in Kakaako and in work with HCDA, we've identified two possible sites in the parking lot of the HTDC area, the sandbox in Kakaako, which we've identified here in the slide. So the objectives of the project study is really to identify a proof of concept here in Hawaii with the technology and allow our company and HCDA to conduct a test to both understand the impact to wildlife, the impact and assessment to environmental environment, and understand both the safety of the unit in wind speed and power generation and stability in this urban setting. These are examples of existing units that have been in operation in Japan for some time. You can notice that these units both work in a cluster formation. They can work very close to each other, allowing it to share wind and create high efficiency power in a very small footprint. And then you'll also notice that the unit is also mounted on top of a building. This is a common use for this type of turbine in Japan. As it creates no vibration, it will sit on top of the building and allow power generation in an area where we were not able to capture power in such a small footprint of this size. And yeah, so additional examples of 10 kilowatt units and the sizing. You'll notice that these units are directly on a highway, meaning that it's operating in very close proximity to transportation. That makes it efficient for that use. We've got a few more slides if you don't mind. So the Kanoa Winds unit, we believe, is a good resource for independent power, and there are several use case scenarios that we believe that this study will allow us to understand. Including the use of the independent system for radio cell networks and or Wi-Fi, both on ground and on building as use case opportunities. Additionally, the technology has been used in Japan for street and road signage, allowing it to capture dirty wind from cars and trucks passing, generating enough power to both light up LEDs and other functional signage. Lastly, use case scenario, the technology is highly functional in just flow. So if this unit also works in water, should there be other use case scenarios where the opportunity to introduce the power generation in a small channel or canal is also an opportunity within this technology. Now we've got a small presentation to kind of understand our impact on the site and how we intend on the unit being located and housed there in Kakaako. We'll try to go quickly and conscious of time here. So again, the site in Kakaako in the HCDA parking lot, we've identified two possible locations to temporarily set up the unit. both site one and site two are what we've identified there on the map. So in this location, we feel like it's a good source for testing because the wind speeds were high. It was in no close proximity to any large buildings and there's not a lot of people or wildlife walking around this area. So this would be an ideal location to assist us in studying this technology in an urban setting. We kind of ran through some pros and cons between site one and site two. And if we could go to maybe two slides, one more. So in our assessment of both sites, we identified that site two has got a better opportunity for both safety and being away from operations within the parking lot. We think site two provides an ideal location to both see the unit from the street and keep it away from cars and the operation of the parking lot. Additionally, that site location is within few yards from a 24-hour manned guard shack, which we think would increase security within that location. Next slide, please. So installation procedures for the unit will be fairly easy. We will deliver in a 40-foot shipping container. We will use a 40 to 60 foot lift to erect it. A forklift will assist in taking it out of the shipping container. And we will have a temporary footing, which it will be mounted to. And the temporary footing will sit directly on top of the asphalt and not disturb any soil, dirt, grass, or anything else in that area. Safety procedures in the setup, we will plan on putting up barrier fencing around the unit to make sure that people know not to approach it. Secondly, we're going to install independent Wi-Fi and camera systems to keep it monitored 24/7 to see it at all times, and post signage on both the fencing and the unit to make sure that people are aware and giving us awareness that nobody should be touching it. Next slide, please. So site setup, we think that's how the site's going to look. Put a perimeter fence around it, be able to put the unit right in the middle and keep it away from cars and people and all that. So we do have extensive testing procedures that we'll go through to make sure that the unit is fully operational. We can kind of go through those.
Yeah, there's three of them.
And then we've got a project timeline, which we believe that we can conduct most of these studies in. And within that timeline, we'll be able to deliver those studies directly to HCDA for approval and review. And lastly, we have secured our insurance and we are ready and willing to proceed as needed.
We have a couple of videos, if you don't mind us sharing, of the actual unit in operation.
Yeah, Chair, if one is being called, maybe you can ask that question.
Yeah, why don't we ask the board for questions as they bring up the video? Any questions for the presentation? For Kanoa Winds?
This is Member Higa, more so for Craig and the HCDA team. Just to confirm, the insurance policy that Kanoa Winds is agreeable to HCDA staff?
So Member Higa, we're gonna have to review that insurance, the terms of the insurance. I know they have a policy, but we will review it with our Deputy Attorney General and then with Lindsay as well. And other terms of the right of entry have to be agreed on.
Got it. And just to confirm, obviously, HCDA will do its due diligence to ensure that everything is good before entering into this, right? Our decision making today is just authorizing HCDA to enter into, not creating the obligation to.
Correct. And I, while the HCDA and I certainly believe in this project as a demonstration project, we look at it as a collaboration with Kanoa Winds, but at the same time, we need to enter into this with the idea, and I've talked to both Mr. Cundiff and Mr. Opai about this, that the cost to do all this, the permitting, any kind of environmental reviews, SMA, and rent if necessary, are gonna be at their cost and they're agreeable to that. So those are the things we have to work out, member Higa, in the due diligence of this.
Got it. And I want to clarify, I'm supportive of the project and I think it's a good idea. I just have PTSD from people falling into holes in parks and suing HCDA.
Yeah, thank you for that.
All of us do.
And we will add to that, that the certificate of insurance has HCDA as an additionally insured. We've already secured that and we'll present that to you. And these units are operating in Japan in close proximity to people. The way that the blades operate, people can go up to it and it will generally push your hand away. So it's very safe and environmentally friendly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So Director Nakamura, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly that it is subject to environmental assessment reports, right?
Yeah, if necessary, then they will get environmental assessments necessary, all permitting as well.
Yeah, because my biggest concern is in my past history in alternative energy is really the vibrations that I'm concerned about whenever you have wind turbines. So I want to make sure that it would be safe for the birds and environmentally.
Yeah, good point. And we will note that it's been operating in Japan. It's got the endorsement and support of the Bird and Hawk Society in Japan. So very friendly towards wildlife. We did a preliminary study at the site, watching for a few hours, and very limited wildlife exists in that area. Very limited bird activity. So we don't anticipate any issues in that element. We also have a video of it being installed in Japan, where a crane is holding the device and operating and pulling it down. And you can see that as the wind is blowing while we're installing it, it's not moving at all. Very well balanced, minimal vibration, if any. And so once it's erected, we expect there to be a very low sound relative to operating the unit under 40 decibels, as well as very minimal vibration. So it isn't in operations, it won't interrupt anything to do with the environment beneath it or around it.
Any other questions, board members?
If I may, Chair.
Sure.
Mr. Hopai, can you just to kind of address the chair's concern in terms of decibels, right? I think you talked about 40 decibels. 40 decibels is the equivalent of what?
40 decibels is the equivalent of us having a conversation. It's about this volume. People in a room talking is about 40 decibels. When you're close to the unit, the wind around the unit becomes louder than the actual unit itself. So we are hopeful that we'll be successful in our trials, and certainly encourage you to come and see the unit and experience it for yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Hopai.
Thank you.
Member Evans has a question.
Member Evans.
More of a statement. As the state's Climate Commission co-chair, I'd like to strongly support this right of entry and authorization to do a research demonstration. As we know, the 2045 electrical generation target goal depends on wind, but that there's a very strong lack of acceptance by communities to the wind turbine approach, and definitely want to see how this vertical tube approach tests out. I may have to leave in a few minutes if we don't get to the vote, but I want to say that if not, I would have voted in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Evans. Member Strikes.
Thanks. Just have a couple questions for clarification. So it looked like on your slide deck, there were some images of solar power added onto it. Is that for operation of the wind turbine itself, or just in addition to the power generated from the wind turbine?
It's an additional unit, so we add the solar panel as just an additional power resource attached to the unit. So in various designs, the panels can come, all the way around the unit, but we, for demonstration purposes, keep a single panel on top of each unit to identify it works really well with solar.
Okay, and then I wasn't clear if this was actually going to be tapping into the HECO power grid, or what, if any use the power generation would be applied towards.
Not at this stage. We believe at most we might set up a charging station, something to maybe charge a few items in, but this particular unit will be not connected to the grid and will be only for display purposes.
And data
Okay.
gather.
And data gathering and whatever else that the HTDC would like to try to use to power up for research.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm also very supportive of this project. I think it could be very useful for wind generation, especially in the urban context. And so it'd be great to see. I guess the one comment I had related to your site selection. I noticed you chose the one that was more internal within the property. So on one side, I understand your concerns about security and so forth. On the other, this is a demonstration project, and it would be perhaps more visible to the, and I guess beneficial to the public being next to the road. I would be concerned, with maybe trespassing if people, are seeing that from the street and wanting to go into the parking lot and check it out.
Yeah, thank you for that. And actually, in clarification, the site that we are recommending is the one next to the road. So it's not the one that's internal to the property. It would be right when you enter the property on the right-hand side. It doesn't take up any parking stalls. There's a couple fences around it already. So it actually is right off of the road there.
Oh, okay, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, I guess I misheard. One other thought too, if you weren't planning on this so far, would be to create some sort of like educational plaque that can be posted next to it for the public passersby.
Sure. Yeah, good suggestion. Certainly will.
Thank you, Member
Thank you very
Strikes.
much.
Any other questions, members? Is there any public testimony?
No, none.
None. Seeing that there's no public testimony, is there any motion from the board to authorize the executive director to enter into a 3-year right of entry agreement with Kanoa Winds, Inc., a Delaware corporation, for a portion of Lot C located in the Mackay area of the Kakaako Community Development District, no postal address, and further described by tax map key number 12-1-015 and 052 for the purpose of allowing Kanoa Winds, Inc. to store and operate one wind turbine for research and demonstration purposes, subject to other right of entry terms and conditions, including but not limited to rent, maintenance, insurance, indemnity, removal, and responsibility for obtaining necessary governmental approvals and reviews.
Yes,
Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Moved by Member Evans. Do I have a second?
Yes, a passionate second.
Second by Member Popo. Members, are there any further discussion on this motion? If not, Ryan, can you please take the roll call?
Chair Ishii,
Yes.
Vice Chair Higa,
Yes.
Secretary Apo,
Yes,
Member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
Member Anderson.
Yes.
Member Strites,
Yes.
Member Evans,
Yes.
Member Sakota,
yes.
Member Chino.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously, 9 yes votes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you all.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda, consider accepting a monetary donation from the Howard Hughes Corporation pursuant to section 206E-416 Hawaii Revised Statutes in the amount of $20,000 for the purpose of maintaining and operating the Kolowalu Park off-leash dog park located in the Kakaako Community Development District at the Kolowalu Park Malka location at 1141 Waimanu Street, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813, and further described by tax map key number 12-3-004-080. Executive Director Craig Nakamoto will now present the staff report.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Kakaako Board. I'm happy to present this item and very pleased to announce that Howard Hughes Corporation has offered to donate the amount of $20,000 to defray the maintenance and operation of the dog park at Kolowalo Park. As most of you know, the dog park is nearing completion. We expect that construction will be completed shortly. Opening time might be in September, just to allow the grass to grow in. A dog park in that side of the Kakaako Development District is something that has been really needed. I've come to learn that there are a lot of owners of dogs in the Kakaako Development District. Actually, there's more dog parks that they needed in the district. And it really takes a community to steward and operate, a dog park like this. Howard Hughes' donation kind of allows or helps defray some of those expenses. And I'm hoping that this donation encourages other community members to help with the maintenance operation, even in small ways like, adopting a dog park or doing other things. As I think like I said, it takes a community to steward this kind of park. So I'm wholeheartedly recommending that the board accept this donation from the Howard Hughes Corporation. Thank you, Chair.
So Director Nakamoto, I'm just curious, did Howard Hughes approach us or did we approach them?
They approached us.
So they approached us in donating the 20.
Correct.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion for the board to authorize the executive, is there public testimony?
Sorry,
No.
Chair.
Is there a motion for the board to authorize the executive director to accept the monetary donation from the Howard Hughes Corporation pursuant to section 206E-416 Hawaii Revised Statutes in the amount of $20,000 for the purpose of maintaining and operating the Kolowalo Park off-leash dog park located at the Kakaako Community Development District at the Kolowalo Park Waka location at 1141 Waimanu Street, Honolulu, Hawaii 96813, and further described by tax map key number 12-3-004-080. Do I have a motion?
Member Higa so moves.
Moved by member Higa. Do I have a second?
Member Oppo seconds.
The motion has been made by Vice Chair Higa and seconded by member Oppo. Members, are there any further discussions on this motion? If not, Craig, can you please take the roll call?
Thank you, Chair. On the motion made by member Vice Chair Higa and seconded by member Apo. Vice Chair Higa,
Yes.
Secretary Apo,
Yes.
Chair Ishii,
Yes.
member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
member Anderson,
Yes.
member Strites,
Yes.
member Evans, excused, member Sakota,
Yes.
member Chino.
Yes.
Yes. Is that yes, sir? Okay.
Yes.
Chair, the motion passes with 8 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 excuse.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members.
Okay, next item on the agenda. Item number 4, presentation by the staff of Kupu, a Hawaii nonprofit corporation, regarding the proposed development plan for the Noah lot located at Kilauea Basin Harbor, 1125 Alamoana Boulevard, Honolulu, Hawaii, and further described by tax map key number 1-2-1058135. Ms. Lindsay Doi, Asset Manager, will now introduce the Kupu staff.
Good morning, members. This item relates to something we brought up a few months ago, relating to various right of entries. But this now is an information and discussion item to allow Kupu to present to you their idea for a proposed development over at the Noah lot which is just next door to their Ho'okupu Center, which is a city leased property now. But they are interested in expanding into HCDA's NOAA lot parcel. So with me here is the CEO of Kupu, John Leong, and he can take you through a presentation.
Absolutely.
Great.
Good morning, Chair Ishii, Executive Director Nakamoto, Lindsay, and board members. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I have a presentation that we broke up into two parts. Just quickly giving you, those that aren't familiar with Kupu, a brief background on what we've done, both as an organization and at the Ho'okupu Center, and then to share a little bit about what we are proposing for the NOAA lot. So, we were founded in 2007, and we are a statewide organization that engages young adults in service around conservation, sustainability, and workforce development. We started from real humble beginnings. We're a Hawaii-based organization, and have really had a chance to make an impact both across the state, Pacific, and has gotten opportunities to share our work in nationally and internationally as well too. Today, Kupu's programs mostly employ about 350 to 450 young adults, targeting ages 16 to 24. As you can see, we impact all parts of the state. And then a few years ago, we also were called to support communities in Guam, Saipan, and American Samoa. So we have three main areas that our programs focus on, and about a dozen programs that we support in the efforts to help educate young people, engage them in service, to care about their community, the island that they're in, and those around them, and to gain work skills that are transferable in the job market. So I will move this. So our main program that is based at the Ho'okupu Center, which is at the former net shed. And just a brief history for those that aren't familiar. Before it became a city and county parcel, this was a HCDA parcel. So we worked with HCDAs in the past to obtain a lease and to develop this property. We were on a month-to-month lease from 2011, where it previously was known as the Crack Shack. It had become used for all kinds of stuff that wasn't the best for the community, and we really turned it around and made this a place of life. The programs today, we serve young adults, about 40 to 50 young people at one time are at the site. We have partnered with the Department of Education, and we have two programs there. One is an alternative learning center where a young person can get their full diploma, and also a GED diploma program. And so we provide about 35 to 40 of those diplomas a year. And you can see listed on your screen some of the services that are provided to our young people at the site. But what's really innovative and unique is that our programs provide young people access to both the workforce side, cultural education. We have an imu pit. They do make poi boards, poi pounding, pohaku stones. They get to work out in Aina-based projects. So it's a staging grounds for them to go out and learn. But they also get wraparound service. And they can be part of our, we have a culinary program there, which is a social enterprise. That we have events there and also offsite. And so we're one of the few schools in the state where a young person can gain transferable job skills, their diploma, while they also can earn an income to help support their families too. So the center's been a big impact for our community. We made assertions when we were going for our lease that we were going to provide support to the community and providing a space for events for community, as well as to do our part in raising up the next generation and serving our Aina and community. And we followed through on all of them. COVID was unexpected by all of us, but the center new commercial kitchen at the time, we'd raised about almost $7 million after we were able to get our lease and renovated the space. We have a full commercial kitchen there, and we were able to provide over 100,000 meals into the community during COVID that supported families that were in need during that time. We were also able to support a lot of farmers and local businesses during that time as well too, and by purchasing their food. As you remember, a lot of them the demand had dropped because of hotels and restaurants closing. And also providing a space where kids could continue to learn in person, both having the virtual background wasn't easy for a lot of young people that didn't have access to technology. So we provided a healthy space to continue the education of young people during COVID. Today, it continues to we've seen some really great growth. And as we look forward, we're excited that the work that we're doing is really becoming a launching pad for climate and resiliency workforce development. We had amazing gatherings there from FestPac. We just had the Oceans Conference over there with people from around the Pacific, to developing young people that are working in the industry. Also working, Kupu recently received funds to support with disaster mitigation work as well too. So some of this work will be based out of the site. Community hub responding to emergency events as I just mentioned, and a great gathering place for the community. We have regular events that the community uses at no cost, such as hula and Tahitian dance classes. We have kupuna that comes since COVID to do Hawaiian music practice weekly. We have lauhala weaving that occurs there. So it's just a really great space and asset to the community. So we're really, with the success of the center, we're finding that it does have some limitations that the Know a Lot will really help us to unlock some of the benefits of the space and further benefit the community. We have two main programs there, our culinary program that I mentioned, the social enterprise, as well as our education program. And they both compete for space. The more culinary and community events we do, the less space we have for classes. And we can service young people from Kaiser High School all the way to Farrington to come to our school. And so having lack of space gives us the opportunity, leaves us with a limited opportunity to service both needs. We have a waiting list for students to get into the program, and then also we've kept our commitment to the community not to use parking to the best of our ability. But there is demand for parking in that park, both from surfers and community members that want to use it, especially during great surf breaks or July the 4th holidays. As well as there's harbor users that need spaces for parking, and then for our events as well too. So with those needs in mind, we wanted to propose a design that for the Know a Lot behind us to kind of really help to mitigate some of these needs. So this is an aerial view of the proposed design. It would include more open green space, including areas that would allow for like a pahula for dancing, having recreational space, as well as like a basketball court that's part of the striped area. So really being innovative with limited space, small gathering spaces, indoor and outdoors, water irrigation. We're still keeping the pump there that's existing. We understand that's a real important asset. So although we don't have a current use for the saltwater pump, part of the community feedback that we got from Friends of Kewalos and others was that if we could keep it in place until for future potential usage. And then of course, education and cultivation. And you can see some visual samples in on the right-hand side. So this kind of expands on this a little further. I think that what I just shared really gives you that overview already. So I'm going to just move forward. But one thing I did want to share is that we are maintaining the harbor master and the ocean safety lifeguards area. We've talked with them, and our intention is to keep their space, but also provide them with their own base yard. So currently the current space everything is intermingled. And what we're proposing is that they would have their own securable entrance on the Mauka side. If you can see, it says Harbor Ocean Safety Entrance. And then they would have a base yard for themselves. And then on the bottom, there would be a proposed additional entry for what we would have as paid parking in that parking space area. And so to talk a little bit about the building, the intention is to keep the existing building, to reskin it, re-roof it, and to revitalize it. So main components for the portions would be having a lounge flexible space, so that young people have a place to learn, to hang out and to have meetings. When we're not in session, also to have a space the community can use for meetings and other activities. A maker space. So a lot of our young people that are coming into our program, or some of them we've been able to take from places where they're dropping out of school to now going after college. We just got one young man a full 4-year full ride scholarship to Menlo College. But some are very interested in the trades, so giving them more hands-on opportunities to learn different skill sets. Classroom spaces, learning spaces that of course can be used as meeting spaces. Covered lanai, and then also having a small kupu store that would provide food and bentos as well as gear, even some of the things that the kids might make, and the maker space for people to purchase when they're visiting the marina and the park. This is a closer view of the building and the proposed design for it. So as you can see, it's a multi-functional building. We were very grateful. G70 is our architect. They designed the whole Kupu Center, and we actually got a few awards for it. We got the Hawaii AIA Sustainability Award, as well as a design award for the center. So we're really excited about them coming on and supporting us with this additional space as well too. So they've made it really flexible so that we can have bigger and smaller spaces and really have a really good flow through the space, and then have indoor, outdoor learning areas as well as community space. And so this is the existing, what it looks like today. And then this is what the proposed would look like when we are POW. And I think that is my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of the board members might have or staff.
Members, are there any questions or comments?
Member Higa.
Member Higa?
John, thanks for the work that you and the team at Kupu do. Big fan of your organization. Can you give us just a rough estimate on timeline?
Yeah. Well, there's some things that are outside of our control, like permitting. We're hoping that we can do the project within 3 to 4 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, this is a presentation for information and discussion. This is the first step. This is not for decision making, but I wanted John to have an opportunity to present his outlook and sort of his vision for Kupu, and I think it's good that HCDA allows this, and I'm also a very big fan of Kupu.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? If not, is there any public testimony? Not. Executive, we'll go on to our next one, so thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda, report to the executive director.
Thank you, Chair, members. The Executive Director report is included in tab 5 of your packet. And just in the interest of time, since we have one more agenda, I just wanted to go through some of the highlights. The highlights and all the improvements that are happening in Kakaako that are being done by HCDA really reflect the significant amount of support that we have received from our legislators, Speaker Saiki, Senator Moriwaki, Representative Tab. And these are the projects we're doing for the dog park, the improvements to Kolowalu Park, and the Kolowalu Park, Queen Street crosswalk improvements. In total, the improvements that you're gonna see at Kolowalu Park include the dog park. It includes, it has already included new benches, picnic tables for families to sit on, and then an adult fitness equipment, and then to be installed soon, maybe in September, October. Recently ordered new children's playground equipment to replace the existing playground equipment. And then the crosswalk is still in progress. There's a flashing beacon that's on order that needs to be installed. And then the dog park is nearing completion. I think it's gonna be, by the time it's ready for opening and use, by the public is probably gonna be in September sometime, just to allow the grass to grow in. But these are really substantial improvements that are, like I said, are made possible by our legislative elected officials. Speaker Psyche, Senator Moriwaki, and Representative Tamman. We're grateful for their support. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Nakamoto. Is there any other questions for Director Nakamoto? If not, thank you for those who joined us on Zoom or in person. This concludes our business for today. The meeting is now adjourned and the time is 11:36. We will go straight into our general business meeting now. So we will be calling that very shortly.